Distinguished viewers, welcome to Turning Point Tales. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe for more powerful Turning Point Tales stories. And if you have been here before, you already know what we do. We tell the stories that stay with you. Now let us get to it. She thought she had already won. She thought the wife was finished, replaced, discarded, irrelevant. She thought wrong. Because the night the mistress wore gold to her victory celebration, the wife walked through the door in red. And by the time she left, she had taken everything that actually mattered. This is the story of Zara Mensah, and of the night she walked into a room she was not supposed to enter, and left with everything she was not supposed to have. Zara Mensah was 34 years old when her husband of 10 years decided that she was no longer enough. She did not find out through a confession. She did not find out through a confrontation. She found out the way many women do, through a silence that came first and a distance that followed. And then a Tuesday morning when Marcus sat across from her at the breakfast table and said the words she had not seen coming, despite all the signs she had not allowed herself to read. "I want a divorce." He said it the way he said most things, cleanly, directly, with the confidence of a man who had already made the decision before the conversation began. Zara looked at him. She did not cry at the table. She asked one question. "How long?" He told her 8 months. She nodded once. She finished her coffee. She set the cup down carefully on the saucer. Then she stood up, walked to their bedroom and closed the door behind her. She did not come out for 4 hours. When she did, her eyes were dry and her spine was straight, and she asked him, in a voice that gave nothing away, when he would like her to contact the lawyers. To understand what happened next, you need to understand who Zara Mensah was, before Marcus Adeyemi decided she was replaceable. Zara was a brand strategist, not the kind who attended meetings and took notes. The kind who walked into failing companies and rebuilt their identities from the foundation upward. She had spent 10 years building that reputation, 10 years of late nights and client pitches and results that spoke for themselves. She had also spent 10 years building Marcus. Not because he asked her to, because she believed in him. When Marcus started Adeyemi Group 12 years ago, it was 3 people in a rented office. Zara was the one who designed the brand. She was the one who wrote the pitch that secured their first major client. She was the one who sat beside him through the years when the company nearly collapsed twice and talked him back from the edge both times. She was the architecture beneath the building he called his. Marcus was the one who stood at the front and took the applause. Zara never minded. She loved him. Bianca Cole was 27 years old and had worked at Adeyemi Group for 14 months before Marcus told Zara he wanted a divorce. She was beautiful in the way that makes a room recalibrate when someone walks in. She was charming in the particular way of someone who has learned very early that charm is a tool and who has spent years sharpening it. She was also, by every account from people who worked with her, not especially talented at her job. What she was talented at was Marcus. She understood what he needed to hear and when to say it. She laughed at everything he said. She looked at him like he was the most important person in any room. And Marcus Adeyemi, for all his genuine intelligence and drive, was not immune to being looked at that way. By the time Zara signed the divorce papers, Marcus had already moved Bianca into the apartment he had quietly purchased 3 months before he said the words at the breakfast table. The apartment was in the same building as the Adeyemi Group offices, 8 floors up, and he had apparently been planning the geography of his new life for some time. Zara did not fight the divorce. She did not call Bianca. She did not make public statements. She did not do any of the things that people expected her to do. The things that would have made her look diminished, reactive, defeated. What she did was hire the best divorce attorney in the city and spend 3 weeks in careful, methodical conversation about what she was legally entitled to. The answer was more than Marcus had anticipated. 10 years of marriage. her direct contribution to the brand strategy that had made Adeyemi Group what it was. Documentation she had kept, not out of suspicion, simply out of professional habit, that traced her fingerprints across every major decision the company had made in its first 8 years. The settlement was significant. Marcus paid it without a counter-offer because his lawyer told him that going to court would be worse. Zara took the settlement. She thanked her attorney. She walked out of the office building into the afternoon sun, and she allowed herself, for the first time since that Tuesday morning at the breakfast table, to feel the full weight of what had happened. She stood on the pavement for approximately 90 seconds. Then she went back to work. What Zara did in the 8 months between signing the divorce papers and the night of the Adeyemi Group annual gala was not visible to anyone who was not paying close attention. She took 3 of her longest-standing clients with her when she left the consulting arrangement she had maintained alongside her work on the Adeyemi Group brand. She registered a new company, Mensah Brand Strategy. Simple name, no announcement. She spent 4 months building it quietly, assembling a small team of people she had worked with for years, people who respected her work and who had watched what happened with Marcus and had drawn their own conclusions. She did not speak publicly about the divorce. She did not post about her new company on social media until it was already operating. She worked. And she waited. The invitation arrived 6 weeks before the Adeyemi Group annual gala. It came not from Marcus. He would never have sent it. But from his mother, Adaeze Adeyemi, who had been one of Zara's strongest allies throughout the marriage and who had made her feelings about the divorce known to her son in terms that left no room for misunderstanding. Adaeze had called Zara the week after the divorce was finalized. "You are still family to me," she said, "whatever that foolish boy has done." Zara had thanked her when the gala invitation arrived with a handwritten note from Adaeze, "Come. You have earned your seat in that room more than anyone." Zara read it twice, then she called her tailor. The Adeyemi Group annual gala was held at the Grand Meridian Hotel Ballroom on a Friday evening in November. 430 people attended. Marcus arrived with Bianca on his arm at 7:45. Bianca was wearing a gold dress that had been selected by her own account to several people that evening, specifically because gold photographs beautifully and she wanted to look like someone who belonged in this room. She did look beautiful, several people told her so. She accepted the compliments with the particular smile of someone who has been waiting a long time to receive them in this specific context. By 8:15, she had positioned herself in the center of the room beside Marcus and was working her way through the guest list with the focused efficiency of someone who understood that tonight was not just a party. Tonight was a statement. The statement was, "I am the woman beside this man now. Look at me. Accept it." People were looking. At 8:47, the ballroom doors at the far end of the room opened. She did not make an entrance in the theatrical sense, she simply walked in. But Zara Mensah had spent 10 years in rooms like this one. She knew how they worked. She knew where to stand and how to move and what a straight spine communicated before a single word was spoken. The red gown was floor-length. It was not loud. It was not revealing. It was simply, precisely, the right dress for a woman who had nothing to prove and knew it. The room shifted, not dramatically, not all at once, but in the way that rooms shift when someone enters who changes the weight of the air. Bianca noticed. She noticed because she had been watching the doors, not consciously, not with any specific expectation, but because she was the kind of woman who always watched doors at events like this. She saw Zara. Her smile stayed exactly where it was. Her eyes did something different. Marcus saw Zara 3 seconds after Bianca did. He went completely still. Zara did not look at him. She crossed the room at a measured pace, greeted Adaeze with a genuine warmth that was visible from 30 feet away, and sat at the table that Marcus's mother had reserved. She ordered a drink. She began talking to the people around her. Zara stayed for exactly 2 hours. In those 2 hours, she spoke to 41 people. She did not seek any of them out aggressively. She did not work the room in the way that Bianca was working it, with visible intention and calculated warmth. She simply sat and spoke and listened and allowed the room to come to her. And it did. Because Zara Mensah had spent a decade building relationships in this industry that had nothing to do with Marcus Adeyemi and everything to do with who she was and what she knew and what she had built. 3 of those 41 conversations were with men whose names appeared at the top of Adeyemi Group's client list. Emmanuel Okafor, who ran the largest import logistics company in the region and whose account represented 14% of Adeyemi Group's annual revenue. Peter Asante, who had been Marcus's first major client, the client that Zara's pitch had secured 12 years ago, and who had never forgotten who actually wrote that pitch. And Adaora Nwosu, the only woman on the Adeyemi Group board, who had quietly disagreed with Marcus's handling of the divorce and had never said so publicly until tonight when she sat down beside Zara and stayed for 40 minutes. Marcus watched all 3 of these conversations from across the room. Bianca watched Marcus watching. She said nothing. There was nothing to say. At 10:47, Zara stood up. She thanked Adaiz. She said goodbye to the people at her table. She collected her bag. She walked toward the exit. Marcus intercepted her at the door. This was the moment everyone who had been watching, and there were many people watching, had been waiting for. He said her name. She stopped. She turned. She looked at him with the expression of someone looking at a problem they have already solved. "You look well, Marcus," she said. He started to say something. She did not wait to hear what it was. "Good night." She walked out. The door closed. He stood at the exit of his own company Gala and watched the door for a moment longer than was comfortable for anyone who was watching. Then he turned around and walked back into the room. Bianca was at the bar. She handed him a drink without looking at him. The first call came on Monday morning. Omi Emmanuel Okafor's office contacted Adeyemi Group to request a meeting to discuss the renewal of their logistics account. This was not unusual. The renewal was due in 6 weeks. What was unusual was the second sentence of the message. They would like to explore options with Mensah brand strategy before making a final decision. Marcus read this message at his desk. He read it again. He called his account manager into his office and asked when they had last spoken with Emmanuel Okafor's team about the renewal. 3 weeks ago, he was told. Everything was fine. There had been no indication of any concern. Marcus dismissed his account manager. He sat at his desk for a long time. The second call came on Tuesday. Peter Asante. Same message, different words. He had known Zara for 12 years, and he had always believed her work was the foundation of what Adeyemi Group had become. He would like to have a conversation with Mensah brand strategy before his own contract came up for renewal in the spring. Marcus put his phone face down on the desk. He didn't make any calls that afternoon. By Wednesday morning, Marcus Adeyemi understood what had happened. Not in a single moment of clarity. In the slow, painful, accumulating way that certain truths arrive, the kind that have been true for a long time before the person they concern is ready to see them. Zara had not come to the gala to cause a scene. She had not come to humiliate him or confront Bianca or make any kind of dramatic statement. She had come to remind 41 people, specifically, carefully, without a single wasted word or gesture, of who she was and what she had built. The red dress was not a weapon. It was a flag. She was not fighting for Marcus. She was planting a flag in ground she had always owned. Ground he had mistaken for his because she had let him stand on it. He picked up his phone. He called her number. It rang 4 times. Then voicemail. He did not leave a message. Mensah brand strategy signed Emmanuel Okafor's logistics company as a client in December. Peter Asante followed in February. Adaoran Nwosu resigned from the Adeyemi Group Board in March, citing a change in strategic direction, and joined Mensah Brand Strategy's advisory panel the following month. By the end of that year, Mensah Brand Strategy had 11 clients. 3 of them had previously been Adeyemi Group clients. Adeyemi Group had a difficult year, not a catastrophic one. Marcus was a capable businessman, and the company had a solid enough foundation to absorb the losses. But the year was harder than it should have been, and everyone in the industry understood why. Bianca left Adeyemi Group in April. She and Marcus separated quietly in June. There was no announcement. Marcus did not call Zara again. He understood by then that there was nothing left to say. Zara Mensah was asked once, at an industry event the following year, whether she had gone to the gala that November with a specific strategy in mind. She considered the question for a moment. "I went because Adezi invited me," she said, "and because I had worked in that industry for 12 years, and I had every right to be in that room." The interviewer pressed her, "But the dress, the timing, the conversations with Okafor and Asante and Nwosu." Zara smiled. "I wore red because I wanted to," she said. "I spoke to people I had known for years because that is what you do at industry events. And if certain conversations led to certain business decisions, that is not strategy. That is simply what happens when people are reminded of what they already knew." She paused. "He did not lose those clients because of anything I did that night," she said. "He lost them because of everything he did in the years before it. I just gave people a reason to remember." There is a particular kind of power that does not announce itself. It does not arrive with noise or threat or visible anger. It arrives in a red dress through a set of ballroom doors. It sits at a table it was invited to. It speaks to the people it has always known. And then it leaves, quietly, on its own terms, before the evening is over, leaving behind only the particular silence of a room that has just remembered something it should never have forgotten. Zara Mensah did not take Marcus Adeyemi's company. She simply reminded the people who built it with her where she was standing, and they followed. As they always would have, if he had only thought to look.